Since the beginning of City is Living Laboratory, we've been working in New York City on the corridor of Broadway, the 18-mile boulevard that goes from the tip of Manhattan to the top of the Bronx. We've looked at many different issues along that corridor in Chinatown, Harlem, and up in the Bronx. We've explored the corridor of Broadway through walks and workshops in different communities. One area that's been particularly interesting is the Bronx. Through workshops there, we found out about the problems with the buried stream. As you walk along Broadway in that neighborhood, you're actually walking on top of the stream. It's buried in the sewer pipe that's just below Broadway. We've been working with a variety of groups in the neighborhood to put forward the idea of getting the stream, Tibbetts Brook, out of the Broadway sewer and put it in an old rail corridor that runs alongside the Major Deegan Expressway. To develop a framing for this, I came up with the idea of rescuing Tibbetts Brook one stitch at a time. The idea would be to get many different artists involved in this process of getting Tibbetts out of the sewer and into the rail corridor. One thing that's really interested me for a long time is the idea of repurposing infrastructure. There are 7 bridges that cross the future corridor where the stream could be, as well as the Major Deegan Expressway. We've decided that it would be really interesting if we could take those bridges over with the words "Rescuing Tibbetts Brook, one stitch at a time" written on the sides of the bridges. Those would be the large size stitches. Smaller stitches could be imagined in other ways. Matt Jensen's talking about doing a quilt and having it actually stitched by people in the neighborhood. The artist Bob Brain has done his tattoo project in this neighborhood. Over time, we want to be able to help people imagine this stream in its new location. What we're trying to do is to begin to get people to imagine the landscape of this Bronx neighborhood, reimagine what it could be in the future.
I am standing on an old rotten log in front of a vernal pool in Cortlandt Park. The pool is going to drain into Tibbetts Brook. Tibbetts Brook is going to flow through the park and then disappear into the sewer system instead of being above ground in the form of a vital estuary like it used to be. So the Tibbetts Brook tapestry is designed to reveal what used to be there and what could be there. It's designed to imagine the potential of this landscape. Right now, there are rooftops and rooftops and rooftops, and you can see them for acres and acres. But the tapestry is a way to engage people's hands and their minds in building this tapestry together and imagining what it would look like if all of these spaces had green living things on them. Not a park for people, but a place for birds and insects and plants, a place where water can collect and cool the neighborhood. And it's a really complicated green infrastructure concept that would be explained in some ways by this collective activity of this tapestry, a sort of map of the neighborhood built through embroidery, built through many, many volunteers and many hands, stitching together this 18-foot long object that could move throughout the neighborhood and be installed in different schools and libraries and exhibits, and meanwhile teach people what is below them and what could potentially be around them someday.
With City is Living Laboratory, I have been able to expand and deepen a body of work that is centered on community access to water. I'm excited to collaborate with Call's team of artists and scientists on their ongoing project, Rescuing Tibbetts Brook. This project is of personal importance to me as Tibbetts Brook is a buried waterway that flows through my neighborhood of the Northwest Bronx. Every effort has been made to suppress this waterway, but it remains a powerful force, revealing itself on rainy days when it floods the Bronx Broadway corridor. Regardless of efforts to daylight Tibbetts Brook, its presence still remains hidden and unknown to the majority of area residents. During a 2020 winter workspace residency at Wave Hill, I produced a series of cyanotype prints that map the original trajectory of Tibbetts Brook and its later permutations, as well as the inevitable urbanization of the Bronx. The cyanotype print illustrates the proposed Harlem Shipping Canal, This man-made carving out of land and water eventually buried the estuary at the south end of the Bronx, which included Spite and Dabble Creek and Tibbetts Brook.
The work that we're doing at City is Living Lab builds on the work that many other organizations have been investing in this neighborhood for a long period of time. We're trying to help make it visible. So there are all of these problems, but how to get people to pay attention to them in the midst of their busy lives? We feel like artist projects can begin to draw attention to this initiative and build support, whether it's directly within the businesses and residents, or it may be with a group of policymakers that can help make change happen.